Hello to all my retro gaming friends out there. How is everybody doing today? I've got some yard work to do on Saturday. It's blazing hot here in North Carolina. I'm going to go out, get some of my yard work done, and then I'm going to get back in here and just relax inside, probably play some games and just chill. How about you guys? Let me know in the comments if you've got some big weekend plans. We're talking today about some retro game news, retro gaming news, and this is going to be kind of a consistent theme on this channel. We will have newsworthy topics that I think are going to be fun to talk about, things in the news that are interesting, that I thought were interesting, that I definitely want to share with our audience here. So thank you very much for joining. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button, the like, karate chop, the notification bell, as my son and daughter like to say. And let's dig right into this thing. All right, I saw on NintendoLife.com, originally reported by WGAL News, Goodwill lands $30,000 from a original NES collection that was donated. It was essentially a brand new original Nintendo console and 27 sealed NES games. There was an employee there, a Goodwill Services rep named Nicole, that I guess had an idea that these could be worth something, had some Nintendo knowledge, and essentially went through and organized an auction. The starting bid was at $9.99, and the 27 games ended up selling for $30,002. And then the console itself sold for $650. And my understanding is that the console was brand new in the box, which is pretty amazing considering these things came out in 1986, 87, 88, 89 is when they were really, really popular. So that's pretty incredible find. And good for, Goodwill getting a hold of it. It's awesome to see it going to charity, to seeing them, benefit from it. And Goodwill, I didn't realize this, but the article actually expounded on this a little bit more. But a lot of Goodwill's mission is providing employment services to people that have disabilities that might otherwise not be able to get a job. And so Goodwill is there for that purpose, helps out in that way. So I thought that was really cool. Always kind of interesting to see these types of stories. Again, also makes you think about supply in the market. When we talk about graded video games and, and the raw games, especially the black box NES games are games that I love, that I'm collecting. And you do kind of wonder, these are from the late 80s. So they're not, while they are probably very rare sealed, they are probably not as rare complete in box as we might think, or at least we just don't know yet. That supply, I think, will come out over time, or maybe it won't. And that's kind of the fun part of collectibles in general, is we don't know what's out there. We don't know if there's a storage unit that's full of 10,000 sealed original black box Nintendo games. There might be. And of course, the added supply, if that hits the market, it affects pricing. So great find here and a great story. Many of you heard that over the last week, 2 weeks, that there was a Legend of Zelda game that sold for $870,000. At the time, that was the high. A sealed original Legend of Zelda game at $870,000. Of course, there was a Mario 64, Nintendo 64 game that just sold for $1.5 million and change. But before that, literally just a week or so before, there was this Legend of Zelda game that was sealed that sold. And I found a really interesting article on talesfromthecollection.com, and it's all about Tim Girvin, who essentially was the designer, the designing company that designed really all of the original NES hardware. So like the boxing and all the marketing, how the boxes were going to look all the way down to the font on this stuff. He designed it. And then he also had a big key play in designing the box art for a lot of the games that we love, and the Legend of Zelda game is one of them. It is one of the games that his company designed. So this guy's a legend, an absolute legend in retro gaming, because, I mean, those designs are classic, and it really kind of brings the box art to light as being very collectible. People want those original boxes. Yes, they want the cartridges, and those are fun to play, but as far as, collecting and actually getting them graded, yes, you can grade cartridges, of course, but a lot of people put a premium on the box. It's the box that really makes it, because people are looking at that box art and really appreciating it for what it was, and kind of the historical relevance of these first games that came out, these first cartridge games. And so Nick Girvin is really the main designer for the NES, the Super Nintendo, the Game Boy, the Super Nintendo, and the Virtual Boy, which I didn't play that one. But a lot of the big games that they designed, Legend of Zelda, Dragon Warrior, Mario 2, and Mario 3. And it's awesome. And this, on the site, they've got a great interview with him, which I thought was cool, with Tim. And he's just talking about essentially the legacy, that goes into a game sale like this at $870,000 and kind of what the art means to people. And you could just tell how proud he was of it at the time. I'm sure he didn't realize what he was getting into and the cultural significance, I think, of a lot of this stuff. I doubt that he had any idea at the time, but, it's all come for full circle. But one thing that was really kind of cool in this interview is they ask him if he has any of these lying around. Like, hey, you guys designed the game. Do you have any of the sealed games or any of the games? And he did confirm that in storage, he does have some of this stuff. I mean, how amazing would it be? I mean, think about an auction where you have, maybe it's a sealed game, a sealed Legend of Zelda or sealed Super Mario Brothers, original Mario Brothers, and he's selling it himself. That would be something. I don't know. And that's actually kind of interesting. Like, if it was signed, if it was autographed by Tim, would that make a difference? Would there be a separate market, for autographed, Tim Girvin games or something like that? I've never really thought of that until right now. But, I wonder if collectors would pay some sort of a premium knowing that, the actual designer of the boxes and designer of kind of all the marketing pieces for this system, held it at one point. I don't know, just kind of a fun story that I thought was really interesting and worth sharing. All right, last but not least, Andrew Borman, the digital games curator at the Strong National Museum of Play, recently discovered a Super Mario Bros. 3 prototype that was donated. This was on a floppy disk from 1990. It was donated by a developer, and I don't know, it was just in a box of things. From what I understand, this was donated to the museum by a developer. I'm not even sure if that developer knew that it was on there. Maybe he did and knew that it would be significant to the museum. But essentially, this thing was built as a pitch for Nintendo that they ended up, I don't believe they ended up picking it up, but it was built as a pitch for Nintendo. But man, what an unbelievable piece of gaming history, this prototype. It's on a floppy disk. It's the original from John Romero, I believe, is the person that did it. Yeah, I think it's John Romero, according to the article. But unbelievable piece of gaming history here that was found. And I didn't even realize there was a museum like this. I want to see if I can, at some point check it out, but there's screenshots of it, to where you can see kind of the early development, the ideas. And it was just, it's just really, really cool. So, definitely check that article out. That one was also on NintendoLife.com. I'll put a link to NintendoLife.com in my video description in case you want to go back and take a look at some of this stuff. But man, just some really cool news, some recent news revolving around NES stuff and just retro gaming in general. So guys, thank you very much for joining me here today. I hope you enjoyed this. I will be back again with more episodes. And like I said in the beginning, please subscribe so that you don't miss any of the new episodes coming out. We'll put out probably 3, 4, maybe 5 episodes a week. We'll see how it goes, but we will have consistent content on this channel. All right, guys, stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will see you again next time.